highs. So the key levels coming to today is just going to be our previous day highs. If we can get above our 692 here on the SPY, we could be looking for a trade potentially up and towards our last week's highs. If we reject, we're just going to come right back down in between 692 along with this 683. For the QQQ, this one's lagging behind just a little bit. You can see this is the area that we broke down from here as well. For the Qs, we're going to need to see longs above our 612 or the potential kind of low risk off this 604 coming into market open. As for some of the main watches we have coming to market open, we'll keep an eye out on Tesla. Tesla is at a very key inflection point, exact level that we broke down from. If you can get above our 416, you can see continuation higher, rejection. You can see this push down in towards that 402. NVIDIA, a very similar setup here. Key level that we have marked out 187. Above our 187, we can see continuation, rejection. We can see this potential push down in towards that 182. As for AMD, this one, earnings last week, big push towards the downside. Key level on AMD moving forward is going to be this 205, along with our previous day highs that we can keep an eye out for. As for a couple other names, Apple is in play here as well for some more upside. Key level that we have marked out 278, reclaim back about 278. We can see this push up and towards that previous day highs and above. As for everything else coming into today, right, Google had some earnings. Be a little bit more cautious on this one. Another name that I do like here is Microsoft. Not normally a ticker that we do trade, but higher time frame just filled their gap. Now we like to see if we can get some sort of kind of mean reversion back above our 410. Potentially you can see this nice kind of bounce here on Microsoft coming to market open. And then as for the rest of the tickers, right, MU kind of in a range. TSM's the only one we'll keep an eye on for a potential all-time highs break. Intel kind of in the middle of the range along with SNDK. So a couple of the semiconductors we want to be a little bit more cautious on. The only one that I do like is NVIDIA above our previous day highs. So we'll keep an eye out for that coming to market open. Besides that, Qs is opening up in between our key levels, as I mentioned. So we're going to be a little bit more cautious coming to market open.
Yo, can you hear me?
You know, what's up?
What's up? Yeah, coming into today, kind of like Jack talked about, so QQ, right? QQ and SPY kind of opening up near the top of the range. What I like is Apple above 279.66. I like Tesla above previous day high or this essentially 212 area. And then, of course, I'd like it to hold pre-market lows here as well. AMD looks good, but only above previous day high. I would take AMD. NVIDIA right into the open, potentially within the first 5 minutes. We'll see what type of price action NVIDIA gives. But NVIDIA above 185.22s, which it's currently above right now, does look good. SNDK and MU, those ones are a little bit more consolidative. Not really too interested in that. And then for the rest of the market, we'll really see within the first 5 minutes if anything shows too much strength or weakness. But coming into today, typically for myself, right, I'm going to be focusing in on Tesla, NVIDIA, and Apple specifically. But once again, only if they show strength within the first 5 minutes here.
Yeah, so Qs is dropping right off the bat. NVIDIA pushing higher here. So let's keep an eye out on NVIDIA if we can break above our previous day highs.
All right, NVIDIA so far, this one pushing up, 185.22. This is the key level on NVIDIA. It needs to break above this level and hold. Tesla so far holding this 408.78 level, which I talked about. This one's the pre-market low that Tesla needs to hold. Apple a little bit weaker. QQQ right into a key level, 605.47s. And then SPY is in the middle of the range. SPY does have room down into 686.49s if it wants to come back down there as well. All right, Q's trying to hold up. NVIDIA bouncing so far a little bit off that 185.22s. Let's keep an eye out on NVIDIA so far. This one, the strongest in the overall market. NVIDIA is the strongest in the market.
Yeah, let's
If I
keep.
was interested,
Yeah.
yeah, if I was interested in Nvidia, I'm looking for that pullback now. I'm going to be looking at the 187.50 calls on Nvidia. That's going to be the 187.50 calls if Nvidia does want to pull back.
What I'll be looking
And then, go ahead.
what I'll be looking for on Nvidia here is the break above our previous day highs. This one has relative strength. Key level here is going to be that 186.95. If you can get above that, with some strength here on the Qs as well, we can be looking for, yeah, 187.50 or the 190 calls on Nvidia.
Tesla dropping so far, Apple dropping as well. QQQ trying to hold up here. SPY back at high of day, but we need SPY back above 690.13s if we want SPY to reclaim. SNDK dropping, MU kind of dropping here as well. Overall market is a little bit weaker. Google's the only one that's actually pushing back up into high of day here on Google. And then, yeah, everything else kind of just dropping. NVIDIA, definitely the strongest name so far. We'll keep an eye out for a pullback on NVIDIA. Once again, that's going to be the 187.50 calls I'm looking at, the 187.50 calls. This one pushing up into high of day now on NVIDIA. The 187.50 calls is what I'm looking at here on NVIDIA.
All right, so Nvidia just pushed up and towards our previous day highs. Let's see if any sort of reaction here is off this 187s.
Yep.
So far, Qs is bouncing here as well, kind of off this 605.
God awful feels. I have to take some. Next target is one.
So far, you're getting this
SNDK
immediate,
drop.
yeah. So far, you're getting this immediate retest here on Nvidia. Let's see the reaction here on Nvidia off our previous day highs with the Qs right at high of day.
Yeah, keep an eye out on the 187.50 calls. Keep an eye out on the 187.50 calls on NVIDIA here. I'm going to keep an eye out on the 187.50 calls on NVIDIA here. I need to see strong price action. Q's right at high of day. All right, NVIDIA closing near high of day here. This one, buyers just stepping in very, very aggressively here on NVIDIA. No entry just yet for myself. This one, very, very strong so far. Apple just dropping all day. Tesla coming back up here as well. Tesla previous day close at a minimum needs to break back above that. If Tesla can break back above high of day and then the 5-minute high retest, we can look for that as well. AMD above previous day high does look good. So if AMD wants to break above 209.37s, keep an eye out on AMD 209.37s. NVIDIA just such a strong push up now. We'll keep an eye out on a pullback on NVIDIA. This one, very, very aggressive move. Not a single down close candle yet. Google back up into high of day here. AMD, keep an eye out on AMD above previous day high. Previous day high retest on AMD potentially in play. Tesla, if this one breaks back above your 5-minute high on Tesla, right, you can look for the 5-minute high retest. And then NVIDIA, we're just looking for any pullback on NVIDIA. Yeah, look at the amount of buyers stepping in. These contracts almost $5.30. There were $3.95 on that entry that we were trying to get. Very big push up so far. Let's keep an eye out for the pullback on NVIDIA. Right now on NVIDIA, I'm going to be looking at the 5-minute high retest, the 5-minute high retest plus the previous day high retest. That's going to be 187.46, 187.46 for a retest on NVIDIA. You can also look for AMD retest of previous day high. It's kind of doing an immediate retest. You'd like to see some sort of displacement on AMD, but QQ, you can see buyers stepping in very aggressively on Qs.
Just took some AMD too, but fuck it. Seems like so unnecessary, but
Overall market turning a little bit more bullish here. SPY now previous day close coming in here, 690.60s. This is the previous day close on SPY.
I'm not doing anything.
Apple very weak. This one below previous day lows now on Apple. This one very, very weak now. All right, for me right now, two things I'm looking at: AMD retest a previous day high, so AMD 209.37 retest, or NVIDIA retest of this 5-minute high, which is 187.46. Let's keep an eye out on both of these names. Let's see which one wants to retest.
It basically has to do it on this candle. He's just very strong here.
Let's see if AMD comes back for the retest level or NVIDIA. So far, Q's pushing up pretty aggressively. Another name that's pushing up is actually Microsoft. Microsoft big buyers actually stepped in off Microsoft as well.
Looking very strong.
Yeah, Palantir is another name, previous day high, now coming up into your pre-market high here on Palantir. Palantir pre-market high 139.86. This one, you're just looking for a pullback on Palantir as well. You're going to be looking for the first pullback rule on Palantir if you're looking to trade that name. That one overall, a lot of strength as well. QQ at a key level here, QQ at a key level here. NVIDIA one down close candle all day so far today. We can keep an eye out on a retest of NVIDIA down close candle, if anything right now. We'll keep an eye out on NVIDIA down close candle. Tesla, nothing so far. This one just consolidating. We need Tesla above this 5-minute high. I'm not touching Tesla anything below this 5-minute high, 411.15s at a minimum. So Tesla not touching that below the 5-minute high or brand new high of day. AMD still keeping an eye out on this previous day high retest, 209.37 retest on AMD. QQ once again still pushing up pretty aggressively. SPY, this one has room up into 692.29s, which is your previous day high, along with QQ previous day high 611.44s.
Let's go on this break. Trailing stop is here.
NVIDIA, let's keep an eye out on this one candle rule, and then AMD, let's keep an eye out on this previous day high if we can get that retest.
These AMDs aren't moving good because these ones were Wednesdays. These ones are Friday.
Qs just say your previous day close here.
I like legitimately might just hop out of these AMDs.
NVIDIA buyers still stepping in. This one's most likely actually going to reach its higher time frame key level, which is 190.22s here on NVIDIA, 190.22s.
If NVIDIA goes through this, I'm so happy.
Q's coming back down.
This is holding, you know. So there's no sell. Oh my god, we go through all numbers. There we go, 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 go.
Oh, I didn't realize my mic was muted. Keep an eye on NVIDIA. Nice bounce. AMD here off your previous day highs as well. 215 calls are in play if you see some strong buyers stepping in off our previous day highs. As for NVIDIA, this one, yeah, perfect retest right off that previous day highs. You had that immediate flip. Strong buyers stepping in. Next level here, 190, really 193 here.
Yeah, keep an eye out on this AMD pullback. This AMD pullback into previous day high. Potentially, we can keep an eye out on this AMD pullback into previous day high for a move back up into high of day if buyers step up. I'm going to keep an eye out on the 210 calls here on AMD. That's going to be the 210 calls on AMD.
As for NVIDIA, you just like to see it maintain this 5-minute range high. AMD previous day highs here.
Yep, keep an eye out on this AMD pullback. Let's see if buyers step in right off this previous day high here on AMD. Keep an eye out on this pullback. Previous day high on AMD.
I do like to take the screenshots. That's gonna be it for today. Because I am out of buying power. And that beginning of the night, I got it like down here, honestly. I was just like, that's basically how you have to do it with a small account. Like you can't. This is why.
See if buyers step in here. So far, we are defending this previous day highs key level. We like to see a little bit more buyers step in here on AMD.
Yep, keeping an eye on the 210 calls here on AMD.
That was $50 on this trade. NVIDIA's still pushing. Jesus Christ. These had these had these had zero DTEs. I guess I could have played.
All right, I just bought the 210 calls here on AMD. The 210 calls on AMD, looking for a move back up into high of day and continuation. That's going to be the 210 calls on AMD, previous day high retest. The 210 calls on AMD. Let's see if buyers step up. The stop here is just basically a close back below previous day high here. The previous day high is going to be my stop. Let's see if any buyers step up. Tesla also just shot back above your previous 5-minute high. We can look for a retest of the 5-minute high on Tesla potentially here as well. And then NVIDIA, this one buyers still stepping up aggressively. This one just very, very strong on NVIDIA today. No sellers basically on NVIDIA today.
Yeah, AMD. I just picked
AMD,
up some of the 215s here on AMD. I like this one basing above your previous day highs as well. Let's see if we can get this push up and towards high of day and above.
first targets on AMD here is previous highs here.
Held all my contracts. Sold them into like.
All right, here's your previous highs on AMD.
Like half in a three, half in a.
Look to scale some here at your previous day highs here on AMD, previous highs.
But it didn't end up going.
Yeah, those are big buyers stepping in on AMD.
My fill was like.
Previous highs, look to take some off here on AMD.
That's good for me. That's good for big positions. NVIDIA. Tesla's looking good too.
All right, took some off here on AMD. Nice buyer stepping in on AMD. Took some off here on AMD.
Yeah, these semis are moving. NVIDIA as well. Nice buyers stepping in on AMD. Nice.
Yeah, if you didn't get the NVIDIA's like super early, I got them here. I mean, what else?
All right, nice buyers stepped in on AMD there. Took majority off on AMD. Only holding trailer positions for myself. Big buyers on AMD. I'm out about 85% on that position right there on AMD. Now I'm just going to look for continuation on the trailers. Out about 85% of my position there on AMD. Going to look for continuation on my trailers.
Yeah, AMD and NVIDIA look really good. This one, buyers immediately stepping in on AMD so far. Next level, really 214, 215. You like to see it maintain above, really now just your previous day highs.
Yep.
NVIDIA, yeah, what a move. Beautiful buyer stepping in right off the bat. Right up next level here, 193. Those, if you're playing zeros or you're playing 2 days out or
Big
even
trade.
Friday's expirations, those
No.
contracts move super nice. Basically, from zeros move from $1.50 now $5 a contract. NVIDIA coming up into that 193. Yeah, what a move.
Luis. Luis.
Yeah, NVIDIA big move. AMD nice move there as well on AMD.
These are $5.
Like I said, out majority of my position on AMD, just holding trailers to see if we can see any continuation on this. This one big move into 212s. Was anyone able to get into AMD there? Was anyone able to get into AMD or potentially even NVIDIA if you were able to get into NVIDIA? Let's see. AMD, both
That's
AMD,
always
killer
hindsight.
call on
You have to
AMD.
take off some.
Nice. Took NVIDIA 100%
So I'm
nice.
gonna take some off here.
AMD, both 2K. Small win on AMD. AMD, two cons. Nice. Yeah, AMD, that was a nice trade right into the open there.
50% trade.
Nice trade on AMD right into the open there. Nice
NVIDIA,
2,600.
yeah, key level here on NVIDIA. This was a super solid move right off that previous day highs. Next level here on NVIDIA.